1973 will forever be remembered as the year O.J. Simpson rushed for over 2,000 yards. But lost in that statistic is the fact that the team barely missed the playoffs. On opening night of 1974, the team was ready. The Bills pressed into the lead with a defense that held the powerful Raiders' offense to 13 points. And a mature Joe Ferguson, whose 2 touchdown passes put the Bills on top 14-13. But later in the game, the Bills lost Simpson, and a young Buffalo team that had only to run out the clock ran out of luck. Suddenly, shockingly, the Bills were behind by 6. With Simpson hobbled and just 74 ticks left on the clock, the Bills looked to a new leader. Joe Ferguson, who had thrown just 4 touchdown passes all last year, threw 3 scoring strikes as the Bills beat the Raiders 21-20. A quarterback and a team were born. The Bills, who knew they could win with O.J. Simpson, now knew they could also win without him.
In Buffalo, the Raiders opened on the road for the 5th consecutive year. Before a Monday night television audience and 80,000 unloving fans, Art Tom scored late to put the Raiders ahead. But a final Buffalo rally sealed a 21-20 Oakland defeat, made more damaging by the loss of dependable Tony Klein for 2 months.
As strange as it seemed, home plate was the place to cross when the Kansas City Chiefs rolled into Oakland's combination baseball-football stadium last week. Unfortunately for the Chiefs, it was the powerful Raiders who would do most of the plate crossing on this day. Ken Stabler and Fred Biletnikoff teamed up early on a 46-yard pass and go. And from there, the silver and black went. Stabler to rookie tight end Dave Casper resulted in a juggling touchdown of the typical Oakland miracle type. On defense, the Raiders went unmolested as 58 Monty Johnson swooped in as an agent of harassment all afternoon. The Chiefs' 5- and 6-man front challenged Stabler to pass, and Kenny consistently met the dare. This time on a thread-the-needle catch by number 49, Mike Ciani, who was a bit shaken up but otherwise all right. Throughout the day, Raider ballhawks were in full flight, and this time number 26, Skip Thomas, pulled the ball down. Thomas, who had 2 steals for the day, drives a white Corvette with his nickname Dr. Death painted on the side. And last week, the doctor called on the Chiefs. One of his interceptions set up Pete Banaszak's 20-yard scoring run, and the Raiders led 20-0. A repeat shows that although Banaszak went right up the middle, he was virtually unscathed in his romp. Finally, the Chiefs got on the board when number 99 Wilbur Young batted down a pass, caught it, and loped 52 yards to the end zone. Kansas City's slim hopes were short-lived, however, as potent Raider pressure triggered a faulty release by Mike Livingston, number 10. and Monty Johnson came up with the theft. Ken Stabler and Dave Casper executed the finishing touch to make it a 27-7 Raider rampage and add a little more sparkle to the city of Oakland, which now boasts first-place football and baseball teams, as well as cheerleaders pretty enough to make it to the pages of Playboy magazine. Ah, to be in Oakland this fall.
The Raiders returned to the stadium built in response to their dynamic rise, the Oakland Coliseum. Cross-country travel left the Raiders' outstanding head coach John Madden and his skillful aides just 5 days to prepare for Kansas City. It was time enough for these thorough professionals. Mike Ciani was on the receiving end of one Ken Stabler strike. And then the diverse Oakland attack sprung Pete Banaszak for 20 and a touchdown. The silver and black defense was overwhelming. And number 58, Monty Johnson, stormed for one of 4 Raider sacks. He also grabbed one of 5 Raider interceptions that limited the Chiefs to only 86 yards passing. Rookie tight end Dave Casper's second score of the day capped an impressive conquest, 27-7.
He's got nicknames galore, Jefferson Street Joe or Joe Willie Gilly Gilliam. Take your pick. Either way, led the Steelers to an undefeated preseason and is the engineer on what is thought by many to be the Super Bowl Soul Train Express. When he's hot, he throws a tight, crisp, accurate spiral that whistled Pittsburgh through the first 2 games of the season unbeaten, although tied once. But last week against the Raiders, the Soul Train Express was derailed as the Oakland secondary swooped, swarmed, and stomped on Willie Gilly's receivers all day long. To compound problems, Joe began to press, throwing passes too far, too wild, or too hard to receivers who anticipated getting jolted every time. Thoroughly frustrated up top, the Steelers turned to their ground game, where marauders like number 80 Art Toms pursued and pulverized the crumbling Steeler offense. The Raiders caught their first break of the game when number 27, Ron Smith, returned a punt 47 yards for beautiful field position. Although Oakland's Ken Stabler completed only 5 passes, they came when they were most needed, like this first down arc to tight end Bob Moore. The Snake finished the job himself when he rolled out around the end and tumbled to a 7-0 Oakland lead. The Steelers tried to regroup, but pressure from number 77, Bubba Smith, had Willie Gilly doing the hully-gully in a vain effort to escape. The constant pressure allowed Gilliam only 8 completions in 31 tries plus 2 Raider ripoffs. This theft by number 43, George Atkinson, proved to be the most costly one of all, because on the next play, the Snake reared back and struck on a 6-pointer to number 21, Cliff Branch, to give the Silver and Black an inspirational victory. Inspirational because it was the first time the Steelers have been shut out in 146 home games dating back to 1964. Raiders 17, Steelers nothing.
In Pittsburgh, the Raider defense was overpowering, making quarterback Joe Gilliam's day a disaster. Big Bubba Smith, number 77, dropped him for a 20-yard setback on one play. Defensive design and execution, plus alert special teams, helped turn Pittsburgh's steel to rust and rendered them scoreless for the first time in 132 games. Ken Stabler was neither sacked nor intercepted, and his bullet to Cliff Branch finished Pittsburgh 17-0.
Preparing for his 200th consecutive start, 00 Jim Otto warmed up to face the Cleveland Browns for only the 4th time. And this start was a shaky one, as Kenny Stabler's first pass of the afternoon was picked off by Charlie Hall and returned for a touchdown, giving Cleveland a sudden 7-0 advantage. A field goal made it 10-0 before Oakland came back when Ken Stabler concluded an 11-play, 71-yard drive with this 11-yard scoring strike to Fred Biletnikoff. After the following kickoff, the Cleveland Browns got moving again as Mike Phipps drilled tight end Milton Moore in with this 24-yarder. And 2 plays later, with the ball at the Oakland 34, Phipps found Greg Pruitt behind Gerald Irons, and Cleveland had a surprising 17-7 first quarter lead. At the top of the second quarter, Stabler found Clarence Davis behind linebacker Charlie Hall on almost an identical replay of the earlier Phipps to Pruitt connection. The Silver and Black narrowed the Browns' margin to 17-14. Almost as if the name of the game were, "Can you top this?" the Browns were up and at 'em again as Phipps lined one to Gloucester Richardson, who looked on this play like a very famous number 42 from the Browns' glory years. But Richardson's catch led to nothing as both defenses stiffened. Midway through the quarter, Stabler fired long for Fred Biletnikoff. And though the play appeared to backfire when Tom Darden intercepted at the Browns' 2-yard line, the Silver and Black defense took advantage of Cleveland's precarious field position. Watch Otis Sistrunk over center as he barrels unblocked into the Browns' backfield to drop Ken Brown for a safety. Sistrunk's play added 2 points to Oakland's total, making the score 17-16, and it returned the football to the Raider offense. Following Cleveland's required kick from their 20-yard line, Kenny Stabler then engineered a slick 65-yard drive, which was capitalized on the 10th play when Pete Banaszak, number 40, charged across from the 3-yard line. And at the end of a wild and woolly half, the Raiders climbed into the lead for the first time at 23-17. Beginning the second half, the Raiders got moving just as quickly as Clarence Davis bolted over right tackle for a 41-yard gain. And Kenny Stabler increased the Raider advantage to 30-17 when he hit Cliff Branch in the end zone on a play which nearly ignited hostilities in this bitterly fought battle. A few plays later, Willie Brown's interception and return set up a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Clarence Davis. And the game was beyond Cleveland's reach when Hugh McInnes, number 37, set sail on this 44-yard touchdown run at the top of the fourth quarter. In the end, although they did enough things right to beat many teams, the Browns were overmatched by the richly talented Pride and Poise boys from Oakland, and the Raiders overwhelmed the Browns 40-24. Happy days, 00.
In Cleveland, Santa Jim Otto, sixth-year veteran guard George Beeler, third-year tackle John Vella, and Pro Bowl performers Art Shell, number 78, and co-captain Gene Upshaw, number 63, gave near-perfect protection to a surging attack sparked by Clarence Davis's extra effort score. Twice the mighty Raiders overcame 10-point deficits while ringing up 445 yards and a record 90 offensive plays. The defense clicked on interceptions by number 32, Jack Tatum, and 3 last-quarter thefts by number 43, George Atkinson. Number 24, defensive captain Willie Brown picked off another as the Raiders rolled for 40 points en route to becoming 1974's top-scoring team.
Last week in San Diego, both the Raiders and Chargers were Scotch when it came to giving up points. The reason was the defense ruled the day with an iron hand that often came down hard. The first time the Raiders were close to a score, they were short-circuited by number 44, Chris Fletcher, who made a nice return before being stopped by number 25, Fred Biletnikoff, on his first consecutive tackle, perhaps ever. And then the flashy running of number 33, Don Woods, who averaged 7 yards per carry and gained 118 yards, got San Diego a field goal and a 3-point lead. But Kenny Stabler came right back on a pass to speedster Cliff Branch that was good for 46 yards and a 7-3 halftime lead for the Silver and Black. In the third period, Dan Fouts stepped back and drilled Oakland's great cornerback number 24, Willie Brown, who zipped in to seemingly bust the game open. Unfortunately for the Raiders, the score was disallowed because of a penalty. Having flirted with disaster in the air, Fouts returned to rookie reliable Don Woods, who was often racing to a score, until who should appear but number 26, Skip Thomas. And no one eludes the clutches of the sinister specter known as Dr. Death. But the long gainer helped, and soon Woods glided in from 7 yards out for a 10-7 Charger lead and an upset in the making. But while a wind-blown and worried John Madden shouted encouragement, the Raiders pulled it out, as they so often do, on a last-quarter strike from the snake to tight end Bob Moore. And in a close one, Raiders 14, Chargers 10.
In San Diego, Coach Madden's wandering war wagon was on the road for the 4th time in 5 weeks, and the defense was angry. On offense, the snake struck twice. Once to Cliff Branch, whose style is a flash of light, a puff of smoke, and gone. The second scoring strike went to tight end Bob Moore, giving the Raiders a 14-10 win and upped their record to 4-1.
Playing at home where they're seldom losers, the Raiders jumped off to an early 3-point lead, but Ken Anderson and the Bengals roared right back on the next series. This play was good for 60 yards to wide receiver number 86, John McDaniel. And then number 44, Doug Dressler, popped it in from the 1. Cincinnati continued to move the ball well, but each game drew the penalty of pain as the Raiders unloaded a volley of good shots. However, pain was no deterrent to the hungry Bengals, and once again they moved in on a struggling 3-yarder by number 42, Booby Clark, to lead 14-3. Throughout the first half, Raider quarterback Ken Stabler found his team plagued by the Cincinnati rush, an inordinate number of penalties, and a few crucial turnovers. They therefore trailed 14-6 at the break. In the second half, the Silver and Black stormed back as number 40, Pete Banaszak, charged in for 6, following Marv Hubbard's 2-yarder, and Oakland led 20-14. But it was 2 teams for the seesaw when Anderson rolled out and hit number 84, Bob Trumpy, to forge a new Bengal lead at 21-20. Then the Raiders led at 23-21 on a George Blanda field goal. But again, the Tiger was on the prowl. A 50-yard bombing run to number 85, Isaac Curtis, set up another Doug Dressler short sweep. With their lead at 27-23, the field goal was now useless to Oakland, and time at a premium. The Cincinnati Cats were in good shape. But then came the snake, and Kenny Stabler hissed passes while the clock ticked away. First to Fred Biletnikoff. First down. With icy calm, the snake struck. First down again. Stabler's coolness was all the more improbable because the Silver and Black had no timeouts left and no time to huddle. So Stabler had to call the plays to both sides of the field from the line of scrimmage as the clock ticked inexorably down. Relentlessly, Stabler drove his team to 3 straight first downs, going mainly to tight end Bob Moore, number 88. With only 39 seconds left, Stabler rifled a 13-yard shot to Mike Ciani, and the Raiders were on the Bengal 1-yard line. "13 seconds. Do or die, heroes or losers." And the Raider offensive line strung out enough daylight to sweep number 23, Charlie Smith, into the end zone for a thrilling 30-27 victory, born of Raider pride and executed with unflappable Raider poise.
In Week 6, the tough Cincinnati Bengals jumped to a 14-3 lead. Ageless George Blanda, oldest player in NFL history, kicked 2 field goals to keep the Raider attack moving. His second sure shot put Oakland ahead 23-21. But the Bengals bounced back and led 27-23 with but 1 minute 36 seconds to go. Daring comebacks are a Raider trademark, but the Silver and Black needed more than just a field goal. With practiced calm and poise, Ken Stabler marched them goalward. Although playing without timeouts or huddles, the disciplined, determined Raiders to a man were rivers of ice water. cold, relentless. Finally, the game hinged on a few seconds, a few plays. And Raider Radio's Bill King described it this way.
All right. Siani is back in, slotted right inside Biletnikoff. Branch to the left at a double wing. It is 3rd and 10. Backpedaling Stabler looks. He's in trouble, but he throws. Siani makes a catch on the 5. He's driven out of bounds. 1 yard line. Holy Toledo. It's 1st and goal to go for the Oakland Raiders on the 1 yard line of the Bengals. Remember, there are no timeouts left. They've got to line up without a huddle. 13 seconds left to go. Will the Raiders be denied on the brink of this touchdown? Branch goes to the left. Double tight ends again. What a critical situation of drama here. Here's Stabler under center. Gives the ball to Smith. Smith running wide to the right. The 5, the 3, the 2. Touchdown, Oakland! Charlie Smith scores. The Raiders take the lead. 8 seconds remaining.
But 8 seconds was not enough for the Bengals, and the Raiders, with their dramatic 30-27 win, now carried a 6-game winning streak as they traveled to meet their frustrated Cross Bay rivals.
Whenever the 49ers and the Raiders get together, you can throw the book away, because theirs is always a game decided as much by emotion as anything else. Last week, the 49ers employed some trickery on their first drive as Tom Whittam ran the fake field goal to a first down. From there, quarterback Tom Owen rolled out and hooked up with running back Larry Schreiber to give the 49ers the early lead. But a minute later, the Raiders came back with a 17-yard scoring run by Marv Hubbard, number 44. The 49ers retaliated on the strong running of number 40 Wilbur Jackson, who got them in place for a successful field goal before leaving the game injured. The San Francisco defense fought valiantly to protect the slim 10-7 lead. But the Raiders, when seemingly stopped, have been known to strike with cobra quickness. A bomb from Ken Stabler to exceedingly swift Cliff Branch, number 21, should have been the beginning of the Raiders' sprint away. But the 49ers had other ideas, especially number 24, Delvin Williams, who replaced Wilbur Jackson and flew 71 yards, outracing even Dr. Death himself, to give San Francisco a 17-14 lead. For Dell Williams, a first-year man from Kansas, it was his first touchdown as a pro and caused an emotional outburst that was a cross between the big winner on Let's Make a Deal and the wind-up of the Flying Adrisi Brothers act. The underdog 49ers continued to surprise the Raiders when they came right back with a Tom Owen to Terry Beasley score to increase their lead to 10 points at 24-14. And oh, how the sky-high San Franciscans reveled in dreams of victory over the vaunted arch-enemy Raiders. But with their heads in the clouds, they developed hands of clay, and number 43 safety George Atkinson pounced on Dell Williams' fumble. A short score by Pete Banaszak, and then this Ken Stabler to tight end Dave Casper hookup brought the Silver and Black surging into the lead at 28-24. And with dreams of victory fleeting, the 49ers made the fatal mistake. A Ray Guy booming punt was fumbled by number 49 Ralph McGill and recovered by the Raiders' number 34 Harold Hart, who outraced McGill into the end zone to make the final tally in the Battle of the Bay Area, Oakland 35, San Francisco 24.
triumphed in San Francisco during preseason play. The return visit would end the same way, as number 44, Marv Hubbard, powered for 117 yards and 1 touchdown. Hubbard's act was followed by still more fireworks.
Now back to pass. Stabler, after a fake, has got time. He's throwing deep for Branch behind Taylor. He's got it to 25, the 20, the 15. He's at the 10, veers away. Touchdown, Raiders! Well, it's exhibition season revisited. Bruce Taylor didn't get burned. He got absolutely enveloped in a conflagration. Cliff Branch just cinched his tail by 7 yards. And Stabler, hitting him on the button, was on the throwing end of a 64-yard touchdown pass to Branch.
Raider domination continued in this series, which is totally commanded by Oakland's 7-3 win margin. Under unyielding pressure, the Niners lost the ball, and George Atkinson's recovery set up a Stabler to Dave Casper score. Then Ray Guy, pro football's leading punter, boomed a cloud scraper, and the 49ers return man wilted in the face of angry coverage. Number 34, Harold Hart, zoomed 40 yards to end the San Francisco earthquake of 1974, 35-24. In Denver, the Raiders were undaunted by Rocky Mountain winter. Even in snow, John Madden's forces were ready. Twice Ken Stabler superbly used the seconds earned by his fierce blockers to find sure-handed Fred Biletnikoff for scores. These helped Biletnikoff become the first player in Raider history to score 60 touchdowns. Cliff Branch also hit pay dirt twice to continue his route to the playoffs and a league-leading 13 touchdown catches. It was 7 in a row for the Silver and Black, 28-17.
Dandruff was not Raider coach John Madden's problem last week in Denver. Instead, his worried look was caused by a Denver snowstorm and a tough Broncos squad. But both the weather and the Broncos were easily handled the first time the Raiders had the ball, as a Ken Stabler to Fred Biletnikoff hookup was good for 6. The second time the Silver and Black had the ball, Stabler's 9-yard streak to Cliff Branch made it 14-zip Oakland, and it looked like the route was on. The Raider defense was unyielding, and number 44, Floyd Little, got nowhere in his brush with Dr. Death, alias number 26, Skip Thomas of the Raiders. Denver's other runner, number 24, Otis Armstrong, was also buried beneath a wave of Silver and Black, and the Broncos' prospects looked gloomy. But suddenly they flashed to life as quarterback Charlie Johnson hit Armstrong on a flare pass, and the speedy second-year man zipped 48 yards to the end zone. However, last week the Raiders were not to be headed, and Ken Stabler came right back with a 19-yard strike to Fred Biletnikoff to lead at 21-7. Valiantly, Johnson and the Broncos fought to catch up. A pass to tight end Riley Odoms, number 88, forced the big man out of bounds, much to his dismay, but set up a field goal, and Denver closed to within 11 at 21-10. Things really got interesting when Johnson reared back and fired across the middle to number 42, wide receiver Billy Van Heusen, who strolled 73 yards to bring Denver to within 4 points. But the Raiders are a team who always know when enough is enough. And so number 86, Gerald Irons, put a quick end to Denver's next drive. Then, to keep their side of the score respectable, Ken Stabler and Cliff Branch made one last bombing run to wipe the Broncos out 28-17. A loss which for Denver virtually wipes them out of the year's playoff picture, dropping their record to 3-4-1.
Back in sunny Oakland for the season's 9th week, the Raiders faced the Detroit Lions, who saw their own 4-game win streak demolished as Bubba Smith and number 86, Gerald Irons, crashed in. Linebacker Dan Connors, number 55, came up with 2 interceptions to help Oakland finish second in that NFL department. Then came time to remind pro football that the bomb is back in Oakland. Raider runners blasted out 284 yards, led by veteran Marv Hubbard and newcomer Harold Hart, products of a scouting operation that Newsweek magazine labeled 1 part fanaticism, 1 part CIA, and 1 part genius. Oakland 35, Detroit 13, 8 in a row.
The Oakland Raider defense has a good luck charm, and it's Otis Sistrunk's head, which you merely rub briskly and affectionately in order to make the opposition's offense disappear. Last week it worked as the Lions came up with only one big play. This Billy Munson to Charlie Sanders hook up good for 47 yards. Then number 42, Altie Taylor, went around left end for 1 yard and the touchdown, and Detroit was finished for the day, because from then on the Raiders were no less than devastating. Their Mauler defense repeatedly stopped Detroit's plays, door-nailed dead. As for the Raider offense, they got off the mark quickly when they scored in the first period on a 5-yard Marv Hubbard blaster. Next, rookie running back Harold Hart, number 34, came up with a stunning 25-yard double desire run into the end zone. Then the silver and black blew the game open when Ken Stabler hit number 21, Cliff Branch, who made a good diving catch in the end zone. The Stabler-Branch connection continued to wax prodigious on this 36-yarder, and once again brought back the memory of the big bombing run days of Darryl LaMonica and Warren Wells. The Raider defense kept its hand in when Munson's pass was intercepted by number 55, Dan Connors, whose theft led directly to the wrap-up. For the grand finale, it was again Marv Hubbard who blasted 20 yards for the score. In appreciation of his blockers, Marv handed the ball to center Jim Otto, who looked like he's been spiking balls all his life as the Raiders roared over the Lions 35-13.
The San Diego Chargers came north with lightning bolts on their helmets. But the real lightning in the Coliseum wore number 21 in silver and black. The defense leaped in pounding waves. It rose highest when challenged, as Gerald Irons and Skip Thomas, number 26, destroyed final Charger hopes. Win number 9 in a row by a 17-10 margin.
In Oakland, getting there is half the fun. The offensive line arrives by a Rolls-Royce, the defensive line in chauffeur-driven caddy. These poised and proud people live in a style befitting their position as perennial champions of the AFC West. But for Art Tom, Manny Sistrunk, and the rest of the Raiders, 1974 has been easier than usual with 8 straight wins and non-existent competition from the rest of the division. Last Sunday, at least the San Diego Chargers were not that impressed. The improving Charger defense stifled Oakland the entire first half, except for a single play, as Snake Stabler and Cliff Branch took advantage of a momentary letdown. A repeat of that play shows the Chargers in perfect double coverage, but the recipients of some bad fortune. One defender simply falls down, another is screened off by an official. Cliff Branch saluted 60 yards and a 7-0 Oakland lead, and then the defense took over. Madden's mercenaries gave ground in tiny chunks as rookie sensation Donnie Woods, number 33, carried 27 times for 117 painful yards. When the Chargers did creep close enough for a score, Dame Fortune again gave them the back of her hand. Fate seemed to be wearing silver and black, and when Pete Banaszak breezed over to make the score 17-3 late in the third quarter, the division title seemed secure for yet another year. But with time fading, a ghost from the past reappeared. Back in the old days, when San Diego used to be competitive with the Raiders, number 27 Gary Garrison tested their pride and poise quite regularly. Now Garrison was up to his old tricks, a 57-yard catch and carry to bring San Diego back into the scrap 17-10. But with less than 3 minutes left in the game, Stabler had only to run out the clock. Incredibly, the Snake put it up for grabs instead. Linebacker Floyd Rice, number 57, did the honors as Stabler was intercepted for the first time in 142 attempts. Then number 14, Dan Fouts, went right back to a sure thing. Garrison put San Diego at the 8 with 1:56 remaining. 4 plays later, they were still at the 8 with one last chance. Fouts' last pass was dead-ended by Dr. Death himself. Skip Thomas celebrated a 17-10 Oakland victory and the clinching of a 3rd consecutive AFC Western Division championship. Now, if Dr. Death can only keep them psyched up until the playoffs start, that's in December, they could well be wheeling that old Rolls-Royce south to New Orleans come January.
When the Broncos came to Oakland, they were meeting the first team in the entire NFL to earn a playoff spot. 7 times in 8 years, the Raiders had established their mastery by winning the Western Division Championship. But despite Ken Stabler's 2 touchdown passes, the league's longest 1974 winning streak finally ended 20-17.
As the saying goes, Thanksgiving came early for Oakland fans when 2 weeks ago the Raiders became the first team to sew up an NFL division championship. And last week they figured to increase their lead over a heretofore disappointing Denver team. Oakland opened fast and furious with two potent rookie runners. Number 34, Harold Hart, was dynamite on this 67-yard kickoff return. Then number 30, Mark Van Egan, showed that he too has a silver and black future. However, as good as Oakland's youngsters were, Denver's were even better. Number 24, Otis Armstrong, accounted for 146 Bronco rushing yards on 29 carries. But even better was number 32, John Keyworth, a rookie who put Denver on the board first and racked up 148 yards rushing with a 10-yard per carry average. While the Broncos were chalking up the rushing yardage, Ken Stabler and Fred Biletnikoff were connecting through the air. For the day, Fantastic Fred had 8 receptions for 121 yards and 2 scores. The first on this 34-yarder and tied the game at 10-10. However, on this day, Fred's heroics were no match for the slashing runs of Keyworth, who once again unlocked the door to the Raider end zone. Then Steve Ramsey whistled an 8-yard scoring pass to Jerry Simmons, and Denver led 20-10. Once again, Ken Stabler went to his man of the hour, Fred Biletnikoff, whose second score pulled the Raiders to within 3 at 20-17. In the end, that was all the Denver defense would allow as the Broncos stunned the playoff-bound Raiders in a game that meant little in the standings, but returned a measure of respect to the men from the Mile High City.
The New England Patriots paid for that loss, as they too found that on the gridiron highway, speed does kill. It was an enormous love-in for loyal Raider fans as Stabler hit Branch, Biletnikoff, and more. Twin terrors, number 82, Horace Jones, and number 60, Otis Sistrunk, pounded Plunkett and Patriots all day. Pressure paid off when Skip Thomas scored, working with a secondary including proven veterans Nehemiah Wilson and Jimmy Warren in place of the injured Willie Brown and Jack Tatum. Then rookies Larry Lawrence, number 13, and Harold Hart ran the option to finalize an Oakland victory 41-26.
On the Patriots' first possession, Jim Plunkett figured that after 37 yards of daylight, why push your luck? Trailing by 3 points, Ken Stabler took the field, and just one heave later, the Raiders were on the board. League-leading receiver Cliff Branch was the target, and after 67 real quick yards, the Raiders led 7-3. But the Patriots came back with another field goal, and Ken Stabler looked to Clarence Davis for drive-sustaining yardage. Right after the first quarter, Stabler reached to number 25, Fred Biletnikoff, for a touchdown that boosted Fred's career reception totals to over 7,000 yards. The Patriots roared back, however, as Jimmy Plunkett orchestrated a 70-yard drive that forced at least one Oakland defender to lose his poise. From the 6-yard line, John Tarver swept left to the flag to tie the game at 13-all. But with just 1:26 left in the first half, Jim Plunkett fumbled, and Stabler seized the opportunity with a TD flip to number 88, Bob Moore. Trailing 20-13 in the third quarter, Jim Plunkett eased a pass to a slanting Randy Vataha, who outraced number 26, Alonzo Thomas, a.k.a. Dr. Death, to the end zone for a 59-yard catch and score. That left the Pats only 1 point behind, 20-19. But on the following possession, Ken Stabler and Fred Biletnikoff squeezed 26 very professional yards out of the field, and the Raiders were on the move again. Seven plays later, Oakland was up by 7 as Stabler drilled Cliff Branch with his 4th touchdown pass of the game and the 24th of the season. As the fourth quarter began, the Patriots were down 27-19, and Jim Plunkett was facing 8 pass defenders. This tipped ball fell into the clutches of the dreaded Dr. Death, who displayed some lurch-like exuberance and then hobbled away. Facing a 15-point deficit, the Patriots completed a 67-yard drive with a little help from Nehemiah Wilson, who tipped the ball to number 88, Al Marshall, and it was serious, 34-26. But in their next series, Plunkett was intercepted once again, and Raider reserves, led by number 13, Larry Lawrence, and halfback Harold Hart, number 34, added one more touchdown to complete Oakland's 41-26 victory over the Patriots.
In cold, windy Kansas City, the Raiders played the Chiefs for the first time in a decade without a championship at stake. Throughout the bitter day, the Oakland defense made big plays as Horace Jones recovered and rambled 45 yards. With Brown and Tatum still out, number 20, Jimmy Warren, stepped in and made a crucial steal. Then, in a tense finish, veteran quarterback Darryl LaMonica hit Cliff Branch for a narrow 7-6 Raider win. Game against Dallas.
Last Sunday in Arrowhead, it was time to button down for both the Raiders and the Chiefs, as once again they launched into tribal warfare. As always in this hard-fought game, the only way Marv Hubbard, number 44, could gain yardage was to load 16 tons of Chief defenders. On the other hand, only Kansas City's Jeff Kenny, number 31, could make any headway against the staunch silver and black defense. And he got most of his 124 yards through his own second efforts. Kenny's inspired running led to 2 Chief field goals, which for most of the afternoon looked to be enough for victory. Because for most of the day, turnovers and mistakes painted the Chiefs and Raiders as 2 teams in search of defeat. The theory seemed to be, anything you can do, I can do worse. Subbing for arresting Ken Stabler, number 3, Darryl LaMonica had 6 completions in 9 attempts. 3 to his teammates and 3 to Chief defenders like number 48, Nate Allen, whose long return led to naught. Finally, in this battle of dullness and defense finally made the difference when Jimmy Warren, number 20, filched this Lynn Dawson pass and wasn't stopped until he ran into teammate Otis Sistrunk. Warren's theft led to the only Raider offensive move of the day as Darryl went up top to the ever-present phantom of the end zone, Cliff Branch, number 21. The quick, deadly outburst gave Oakland victory number 11 in typical Raider Chief fashion, 7-6. Last week, the Raiders dusted off some of their big guns when the Cowboys came to town. But Roger Staubach's cannon roared first on a ricochet shot to Walt Garrison to Drew Pearson in the end zone. Then the Dallas defense boomed in on Oakland punter Ray Guy when he bobbled a snap in the end zone, and the Cowboys led 9-3. Up from his bench spot, where he's been resting since Oakland clinched, came Ken Stabler, who fired fingertip high to Fred Biletnikoff in the end zone. And then just before halftime, the Snakes struck with Dallas poison to 23, Charlie Smith, and Oakland led 16-9. Early in the second half, a Dallas fumble was picked up by linebacker Phil Villapiano, number 41. And what to our wondering eyes should appear but a quarter century of pro football history wearing number 16 and the name Blanda. On his first play, the 47-year-old Wonder Man dropped back, reared back, and fired a touchdown to Cliff Branch wearing number 21. And 21 years George's junior. And all of Oakland stood and cheered the amazing career of their ageless idol, who has been named the NFL's Man of the Year for 1974. With the game seemingly out of reach, the Cowboys flared to life. Staubach hit on a shot to Drew Pearson, whose great second effort ignited and inspired Dallas. Once again, the Dallas defense took its cue when, with his back to his own goal, Larry Lawrence uncorked a pass that popped to Leroy Jordan, and the old cowpoke ran it to the one from where Doug Dennison punched it in. Threatening again later, Staubach went to number 83, Golden Richards, whose acrobatic catch made it an easy 2-yard dive for Dennison to cut the Raider lead to 27-23. But that was the final, as the Dallas rally fell short just as their season had, and the Cowboys went home to watch the Raiders on TV.
Kenny Stabler was presented the 1974 Gorman Award as the player who best exemplified the pride and spirit of the Oakland Raiders. Then a national TV audience saw the Raiders bound for glory, with Fred Biletnikoff leading the way, while achieving his 8th consecutive season of 40 or more receptions. Ken Stabler then found Charlie Smith, number 23, on a pattern that would loom large in the upcoming playoff classic. Suddenly, the Cowboys were struggling for survival when alert linebacker Phil Villapiano recovered a fumble to set up one of the towering happenings of this or any season.
Now, Raiders attacking unit takes over on the 28. Crowd hooting and hollering and roaring because George Blanda's at quarterback. Blanda looks, he throws, Branch, 5-yard line, touchdown Raiders! And Superman does indeed live in Oakland. If I may harken back to 1970, I think George Blanda has just been re-elected King of the World. That's the first pass George has thrown in anger in a league game since 1972.
This pass helped close the league season with a 27-23 triumph, and George Blanda was named NFL Man of the Year. Playoff exploded with excitement as Nat Moore raced 89 yards to score. The sellout Coliseum crowd despaired. but to a man the pride and poise that had made these Raiders so feared and respected never wavered.
It's 3rd and 5.5. On a quick count, Stabler drops straight back, sets up, pumps, lobs one down the middle for Smith. Touchdown, Raiders! The crowd comes apart at the seams as Charlie Smith catches one from 32 yards down the middle. The identical pattern and play that Smith ran and Stabler hit him on against the Dallas Cowboys.
Biletnikoff missed by inches, but radio's Bill King and the NBC TV crew of Kurt Gowdy, Don Meredith, and Al DeRogatis alternately described the heroics that followed.
The ball on the 13, 2nd and 10. Stabler back, looks left, throws right. Biletnikoff, a leaping catch. Touchdown, Oakland! Holy Fred Biletnikoff just made a miracle catch with Tim Foley all over him. Stabler did a good job of looking off the defense, but the ball, which was actually deflected once off Biletnikoff's hands when Foley contested it, and the right sideline of the end zone was grabbed back by Fred as Foley kept his pressure on, landed on top of him.
Biletnikoff has 6 receptions, 86 yards, 1 touchdown. They're going to the air now. Here's the deep one to Branch, deep. He's got it! An amazing catch by Branch. And he scores! Branch scores!
Miami trailed 21-19, but they had not become 2-time world champions by giving up. They roared back and powered into the end zone to lead again, 26-21. With only 2 minutes and 1 second left, and professional football's most disciplined defense to overcome, Oakland Raider hopes seemed to hang on the most slender of threads. Stabler led the charge. To Fred Biletnikoff for 18, and then 20 more, 40 seconds. To Frank Pitts for a crucial, heart-stopping 5 yards. Now it was do or die.
This is a classic playoff game, just like the Miami-Kansas City game on Christmas Day.
It is a classic.
3 years ago.
No question, these are two of the very finest football teams we have this year, and they're putting on a great show.
Here he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's tied, he throws. It is.
Oh, he caught it.
Unbelievable. Two Miami defenders with 26 seconds to go. Each team has put on.
And we got a flag going down there, too.
What a finish. And it's not over yet. 27-26 now in favor of Oakland.
The Raiders had taken the lead 27-26 when Stabler had to loop the ball up because he was hit as he threw. It looked like he might have been lobbing it into the promised land for Miami. But no, Mike Colin couldn't get there. Davis got there first, and it was the Raiders' promised land. They need 3 to win it, though. That's important, but there's only 21 seconds. Greasy retreats to the left. He goes way up the middle. Intercepted Villapiano at the 50. Time running down. 13 seconds to play. Oakland football. And I think Oakland victory. It's 13 seconds away from confirmation. The crowd going wild here at the Coliseum. Madden, in his delirium of joy, goes about 20 yards out onto the field to welcome the defenders and Villapiano. Villapiano gives Madden the football. He displays it for all to see.
I guess Alameda is still the house of miracles, huh?
The house of thrills. You'll never see a better game than this one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you'll agree.
Frankly, it was maybe the greatest football game I have ever seen. It was just incredible.
28, 30, 35, 40. And he is fumbled.
He fumbled it right, and Oakland got it.
Raiders ball. Raiders have it. They're going to try and do that today, Al. They want to get Branch one-on-one. There's a pass.
and that's incomplete. J.T. Thomas draped all over him, but the officials say a legal play. JT, look at Madden saying he had him wrapped up.
It looked like a pretty close call. You see Madden, he said that was pass interference, but we mentioned Biletnikoff again, and he is the guy they're going to. They're trying to get a first down here. He's coming back on Thomas. Let's see Thomas trying.
They have a split back set up. They're holding out well. There's a pass.
Oh, did he get hit?
Yard loose. That's a great play by Edwards. A 40-yard attempt. The kick is up. Kick is good. Oakland's on the scoreboard.
He's amazing.
The linebacker Lambert coming in as a reserve back shell on 3rd down and 8. Stabler out of the pocket throws, and he is hit. Now where did they hit him? They hit him on the 31 for a first down. Been replaced by Charlie Smith. Stabler's pass. Wide open is Frank. They can run the 109 too. It's brought down by Jack Ham. They got Branch isolated on the linebacker.
Linebackers on the outside. Russell, Ham.
Donnie Shells in the secondary. There's time. He hits Biletnikoff for a first down. Biletnikoff again with his favorite pattern, curling into the middle of the zone. Davis is in replacing Charlie Smith in the backfield. A play action fake. They're going deep to Branch. Touchdown! Away in the air. Timeout with a score. Oakland 10, Pittsburgh. That's one way he can escape the pass rush. Oh, look at that hitting.
He didn't block that time. He didn't get in his way either.
2nd down, 6 play.
Whoa, there he goes. There he goes.
They won't get him, maybe. They got him. Jack Lambert saved the touchdown. Left Branch. Didn't quite spot Lambert behind him, cutting across.
Ali gets blocked to try to go for the interception, it looked like.
It's wide open. Fall down. Branch gets up. He's caught 7 now. And that's another first down. Left Branch. 7 receptions, and now Oakland 17-10. Pittsburgh ahead. 9 minutes to play.
He's got him wide open again.
Oh, Lambert cracked him down at the 9-yard line. Hitting Clarence Davis coming out of the backfield. Passes this year.
Safety
look out, they got a big rush on him. He threw that one away. They had a blitz on him. Holmes was in there. And L.C. Greenwood was coming. Dwight White was coming. He had not much of a chance that time.
Off his rhythm, had to throw it away.
24-yard field goal attempt is up, and it is good by George Blanda, his 2nd field goal of the game. So now the lead has been narrowed down, and the score is Pittsburgh 17, Oakland 13.
Mr. Bradshaw, he's been criticized an awful lot since he's been up there. They're expecting big things from him.
Now only the World Championship remains to add a crowning glory to the Raiders' unparalleled level of success. But now and always, one standard remains unchanged for the Silver and Black: their never-ending commitment to excellence.